So today it's Friday, and what better way to start the weekend than with some very budget-friendly jank on the ladder and taking down all those pesky crime decks. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I'm destroying our opponents with badgers and varmints. That's right, pesky little creatures that can even help do over 15,000 damage in one turn. Firstly, don't forget though to like and subscribe below, especially now Outlaws of Thunder Junction has arrived. This set has some super cool cards that I am loving playing with. But onto this deck, and we are all in on Rise of the Varmints. It's a 3-cost sorcery with plot 3 that creates X 2/1 Varmints, where X is the amount of creatures in your graveyard. So our whole deck is about milling, making some really bad blocks, dropping this down for hopefully 0 mana, giving everything haste with our bitter reunions, and doing some insane damage before our opponents even know what's going on. Trust me, it works more than it should. We do have 2 other ways to win though. Firstly, our badger friend in Stubborn Burrowfiend. It's a 2-drop 2/2 with saddle 2 that when it becomes saddled for the first time each turn, mill 2 and it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the amount of creatures in our graveyard. It is the perfect card for this deck and is always a massive creature rumbling through. Our other optional win con here are with the valets. They do have haste, which is nice as you can drop this, unplot your varmints, then attack for an ungodly amount of damage, as you can see here. If you want to stay really budget friendly though, you can drop these, but I'm not going to be ignoring this card in a deck like this. The rest of our creatures mill and help fix our lands. Aftermath Analyst is used here in a very fair way, so basically just mill cards, and is certainly going to get killed itself, which is pretty great. And we have some 1-drops in the Mavericks and the Deathbonnet Sprouts. We got Prowlers, Naturalists, and some optional Tortoises here. They're all great for finding lands and milling hard too, with some Dryads revivals to help get our combo pieces back later in the game. I've got 23 lands today, and that is the deck. So there are a lot of alternatives here to make the deck more budget conscious, or less if that's your thing, but this is very janky and certainly holds up against much more powerful decks. We are susceptible to the optimized aggro decks or major graveyard hate, but I'm not that bothered as a lot of our opponents' decks are very susceptible to our strategies. You do have to give haste though, as there are way too many mass removal spells to wait around for your next turn to attack with your varmints. But if you're feeling really brave, go ahead and drop the red, drop the haste, and just go mono green. I have some footage of some games I've played today. I hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Alright, on the play with our mono green hand it looks like, but it's a really good one as we do have our turn 1 play, which is always nice. Our Deathbonnet Sprout, quite nice early on at milling, but then later on it can nab your opponent's threats from their graveyard. Copperline Gorge, okay, well I mean this is a pretty decent start for us. We just need to find a bitter reunion here. We mill 2 forests and a tortoise. Okay, well I'm going to take the forest. We don't need a 2/2 at the minute, and we could do with some lands. Deep Cavern Bat, okay, I mean, this card is a bit of a problem against any deck that revolves around 1 or 2 very synergistic cards. If they take my Rise of the Varmints here, I'm going to be pretty gutted. Well, they don't. They take the Analyst. They've probably had bad times against the Analyst in other non-janky decks before. Let's go for the Badger. So we could saddle up here. Oh, there is a Naturalist on top. We don't actually have a creature for next turn. I guess I can't saddle, can I? Because of the... just put the Naturalist on top. Alright, well, we're just going to attack them for 2 1-power creatures. Yeah, that was a bit of a... Should have saddled first, because I was going to saddle. And they get to their bat, and you know what, the Sprout's going to mill this card off the top of my deck anyway, so yeah, a few misplays there. Forgive me, please. So we find a Prowler. Okay, well that's fine. We'll definitely keep that one. We'll definitely play that one. Yeah, we're just going to keep milling and milling. Okay, Aven Interrupter, plot my spell. Right, okay, well we can't cast that again because plotting is as a sorcery on a following turn. Yeah, I mean, let's just get in there with a 7/7, shall we? A 7/7 Stubborn Badger takes it, goes down to 11, okay. Yeah, I mean, if anyone else can wants to sort of make a version of this deck that really leverages this Badger, I think that would be pretty good. If you can give it Trample, Double Strike, or anything like that. Just keep... I don't really want to eat anything from my graveyard, as it is going to enable our Rise of the Varmints in a bit. Now, they're playing a Esper deck here, so going to have removal. It's, do they have a full board wipe? Do they have another Aven Interrupter? That is a question that I want to know. Are they just Orzhov Control flyers, you know? Prowler here is going to mill, and they just mill one of our revivals, and now that is pretty nice. They've definitely got something in their hand. I mean, it was pretty obvious that maybe they're waiting for us to play another spell. So let's get in there with our Badger friend and our Hulk. I mean, this is a lethal attack, so they need to make a block. Okay, yeah, as predicted, they had a they had some interaction, another Aven Interrupter. Okay, so we could go Prowler, but I think it's better to just plot our Rise of the Varmints, keep that away from our opponent's eager eyes in case they have a discard spell. But yeah, this Interrupter is pretty annoying. It's not the end of the world though, as we still get to play our cards from exile. It does tax it though, doesn't it? We have to pay 2 extra. Double down into Otawara. Oh, we find it Boseiju, okay. So what is this? Whenever you cast an Outlaws spell, copy it? Alright, what are they up to? Yeah, we're definitely going to be destroying that. I've clearly something going on up there. If you know, let me know in the comments. I'm always interested in interesting off-meta decks. We're certainly playing against one right now. Unless it's become the meta and I'm not aware. But we'll get in there with the Badger again. I mean, they are on 3 life. Could have attacked with the whole team there. They would have lost their board and we would have got 1 damage in. But we'd have lost our Badger, and I think this is better. So opponent is blocking with their bat. Okay. I don't really want to play Rise of the Varmints into a Sunfall. And I'm pretty sure they'll be the type of deck that has a Sunfall. But let's Boseiju away there. Double down. Let's stop them having fun with that card. And yeah, we've got some potential lethal threats on the board now anyway. So yeah, I don't really want to put too much down, as I'm very wary of a Sunfall. Until they tap out or have no cards left. They played Nimble Larcenist, okay, to refill my hand. Well, there you go. So if that Rise of the Varmints was in my hand, it would now be in the grave. Exactly why the plot mechanic is so cool on some of these cards. Ruthless Lawbringer, sack a creature, destroy target permanent, okay. Our Badger is no more. But I think we could potentially have a lethal attack here if we find our Bitter Reunion. All we need to do is find an untapped land off the top. Most of the deck is untapped lands. Let's get rid of this Analyst here. Alright, 2 forests. Excellent. We'll play Forest, and then we can play our 0-cost Rise of the Varmints. Use our Bitter Reunion and give everything haste. And that is the perfect ending to a game with this deck. Alright then, on the play. It's a fine opening hand. No 1-drops, but we have a couple of reunions. Originally I was playing the Song of Totenzan. I think that's how it's pronounced. For just the 1 red mana, you can give all your creatures haste, but I think the reunion's better. Early on it's much better. It's something for us to do now. And it can just sit there, and then for 1 mana later on, of any colour, it can give all our creatures haste. So I think it is better. Put it with Magda, okay, another crime deck. Very, very popular. Not sure how I necessarily feel about the crime deck. I think it is it's a cool way for sort of synergize with removal spells and things, but it does encourage a lot more removal spells. But this Magda seems pretty sweet, and I like Kervek as well. Okay, are they going to attack into my 2/3? I highly doubt it. Invasion of Tarkir, okay. Oh, this is interesting. Some kind of a Dragon Brew, maybe? Yeah, there's a Dracosaur in their hand. So takes care of our creature, and they get in there with their Magda. Copperline Gorge. Okay, tap land. Well, I kind of want to get as much power and toughness on the battlefield as possible. Obviously, we're not a particularly strong deck, so we've got to do what we can, and we can keep milling. Commercial district there. We can decline this to put a counter on our Prowler. It means it can block the Magda. And it's either Analyst or the Burrowfiend here. Go for the Analyst. The other reason of putting a counter on the Prowler is if we wanted to play the Burrowfiend, we could saddle it straight away to keep milling. But yeah, I think the Analyst is better. It means if they have a removal spell, at least we can keep blocking this Magda here. But they're going to want to play this Dracosaur sooner rather than later, I guess. And a Molten Collapse, okay. Destroys my Analyst. I think a lot of people are scared of the Analyst because of the graveyard land decks with the sack lands, but it really doesn't do much in our deck apart from when it enters the battlefield. I mean, you could always sack it to bring lands back if you wanted to, but we're never really needing to do that. We'll play the Maverick here. And, I mean, we've got this card in the deck to surveil away creatures, so let's just do that. I would have maybe liked that other Maverick. And we can either... Well, we've got 3 options here, but... I like the idea of going for the Burrowfiend. Now, we can saddle this straight away, because I'm not going to be attacking with the Prowler. And this can mill even more. And you can see it, this is already 11-11. So we could crack that Bitter Reunion and attack our opponent for 11. But I don't want to. We do have another Bitter Reunion if we wanted to do something like that later. But yeah, this Burrowfiend is fantastic in this deck. You could try adding black in this deck as well. I was thinking about doing that. There's a few more mill cards. And I mean, you could put blue in it as well. But I just don't see how this deck works without the haste. Well, we'll just throw our Maverick under the bus here. It's another card in our graveyard, so another Varmint a bit later on. Each card that goes to the grave is a Varmint. Opponent plays their Dracosaur. So we're just sitting pretty here, waiting for the opportunity to find one of our Varmint cards and pull the trigger with a Reunion. And we drew a Tortoise. So I think what I'm going to do this turn is just continue building up my board. We can play the other Bitter Reunion here, see what we draw. We can drop off the Tortoise, and we're not dying anytime soon. We draw 2 forests. Okay, not really what I was looking for. So let's think about this one. Yeah, I think we want a revival. I'm just worried about discard spells. I've played against enough of these crime decks to know that opponents do run discard spells. Unfortunately, we can't revival and plot our spell here, but I think we have another couple of revivals now in our graveyard, so let's not worry too much about it. And it's, yeah, let's saddle up here. I was debating whether to saddle first, but we were always going to bring back that rise. They're going to attack the opponent here for 15 damage. I mean, are they going to block with their Dracosaur? No. Alright, they go down to 5. They're dead next turn unless they have a discard spell. So, yeah, I mean, are we dead? That's the point. I can't believe they didn't block a 15 power creature there. Molten Collapse here to deal with our Burrowfiend. Fair enough. They're still dead next turn, and this is knowledge that they know about. Okay, they are attacking their invasion here with their Dracosaur. Alright, can they deal with this board? This is the reason the Bitter Reunions are in this deck. If we'd just fired off the Rise of the Varmints, they're just going to get board wiped, so it all has to be done on the same turn. They play Mishra, they are completely tapped out. We've definitely got the win here. Okay, we have definitely got the win here. So we could go for the Varmints and just give them all haste. But we could go for the interesting play here of, or our backup plan in this deck. Let's go for our friend's Devilish Valet. And let's see how much power we can put on the board here. Playing our Rise here. Go on, Valet, do your worst. They do have a double striker, but it doesn't have 3 power, so 16,384 damage. Obviously, I would never have done this if our Valet wouldn't get through. So it gets blocked with its first strike. then it's going to get through. An opponent goes down to negative 16,379. Nice. Alright then, on the draw. Yeah, it's fine, this hand. I like the Prowlers. They they find you land if you need it. And we've now got 3 of them. Okay, so not too bad. We also have our Valet as our kind of extra win condition here. Works pretty nicely. It's also a creature, so it kind of works like the Bitter Reunion, but as a creature it's fine to be in the graveyard. And this is why the Prowler's pretty good. Hit both mills, and in this case it finds us a forest which we're going to need next turn. And if they attack with their dog, I'm going to block. So it's all good so far on our side of the board here, as we look like we're up against Selesnya Enchantments. Okay. We use a planar disruption on our Prowler just to get in for 1 damage. Alright, well, let's plot away our Rise of the Varmints. Hallowed Haunting for our opponent. Plotting the Rise is nice when you have a Valet because we can, again, just smash the opponent on 1 turn. Do need a red mana, though, to do that. And yeah, we'll just keep playing our Prowlers. Looking for a red mana. No. Okay, but this is absolutely fine by me. We have a large graveyard with 6 creatures, as it says that on our little badger friend in our hand there. The Burrowfiend. So I'm going to probably put up janky decks every Friday. And this is going to be the first one of this new set. Check out my last video if you haven't done so already. It's an infinite combo and it's absolutely wild. Still unbeaten with that deck. So give it a go. I've had a lot of feedback about their versions and it seems that it's pretty powerful in several different shells. So I'll link that up in the corner now, but I urge you to give that one a look. Prowler here finds a Gorge or a Karplusan Forest. I'm just going to go for the untapped lands. I'm not really sure if we're going to necessarily die. I'm pretty sure we're going to win this game. I just think that the Rise of the Varmints here is going to be pretty powerful. We have the Valet for next turn with the Rise of the Varmints. So yeah, should be pretty good here. Opponent is playing, I mean, they could go off here with their Hallowed Haunting, and it's Chimil. Okay, I did not expect that card. I mean, it's fine for us. What did they find? They find a Naturalist. Okay, it's a little bit of life gain there, but nothing we can't handle for next turn. And yeah, I mean, we're just going to go Valet into Rise of the Varmints here for a massive attack. This is certainly not how I envisaged this deck to win most of its games, but it's doing pretty well here. We'll play the Burrowfiend as well, just to give an extra trigger for our Valet and the old Varmints here. I guess we could have saddled the Burrowfiend that we just popped onto the battlefield to get some more Varmints, but this is 512 damage. I don't know if they can survive this. Can they? Can they survive this? No, they like that. Yeah, and they GG us, and they scoop before they take so much damage. Alright, on the draw. I am really enjoying this deck today. It's a nice change of pace here. Playing cards that really aren't going to ever be played in Standard, but if you want to play some janky brews this weekend, this deck could be for you. I do like making whole army of creatures, and Varmints are definitely something I've never done before. Prowler here finds a district, which we are going to need for next turn, but it is a tap land, so we'll see what we do. We'd like to get these Naturalists down, and there's a Tiny Bones that joins up. It's going to make me discard a card, which I'm not really that fussed about, really. Discard a creature and Voice of the Blessed. Okay. Sure. Alright, so Voice of the Blessed, I mean, we're not playing removal. I'm pretty sure that card is going to absolutely destroy us unless they've got a terrible hand. We'll do our best. We do have our Rise of the Varmints, so we'll go as mad as we can go here. And we will definitely saddle up our Badger. Okay, and we just mill 2 non-creatures. So only 2 creatures in our graveyard. the RNG on our deck are not helping us on this particular game. This voice is going to, not only are they going to gain a lot of life, clearly, but it's going to in a minute be flying and vigilant. Gumdrop poison, okay. And yeah, this much more refined deck from our opponent that's been around for a while is kind of blowing us out a little bit. I mean, what is the point of us blocking? Save 5 damage, but we lose one of our better creatures, which can mill on our turn. Okay, Dryad's Revival. Not that great. Another Revival, okay. Right, okay, let's go for the Naturalist. We will mill away. 1 Valet, okay, so we have now 4 creatures in our graveyard. Let's saddle up, see what else we can do. Okay, well there's another 2, and this is now an 8/8. We're going to have to attack. We're going to have to try and do some urgent damage. Fortunately, we didn't find a reunion on this particular game, because a reunion with our Rise in our hands would be pretty nice. But yeah, the voice is already a 6/6 flyer. Here come the more Lifegain with Virtue of Persistence. 7 in the air, and we are surely going to die next turn. I guess we are dead next turn with the voice and their Restless Fortress. So let's just show them what we were going to do. And, I mean, we can't really attack here, can we? Just lose our creatures. So let's just hope that they don't activate their land and they attack us and we go down to 1. Potentially we could find a way maybe to win next turn. Highly doubt it. Gix's command is going to destroy. So this is why you need the Bitter Reunions in this deck. I mean, everyone is running board wipes at the minute. Not much you could do about this. The Lifegain deck takes us down. Alright then, on the play. Pretty decent hand here, as we have our Badger and our Bitter Reunion. Couple of Naturalists. I really quite like the Naturalist actually in this deck. And a Tortoise. Opponent with a Rakdos land and Tiny Bones. Okay, well, I don't really care about that. I mean, are they going to want to attack into my 2/2? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm fine for my creatures to die. If they are a crime deck, I am absolutely okay with that, as they play Magda the Horde Master, so it looks like they are, and I am going to snap block here. No, okay, they decide against it. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of crime decks, or against a lot of crime decks in practice here, and I do feel our deck kind of thrives in those situations. I do not care if my creatures die. I want them to die. It's the exile effects that I worry about. So we'll drop a keep a land on top to make sure that we can go into a Tortoise next turn. But yeah, we just need to keep filling up our graveyard here, find our Rise of the Varmints, and we have Bitter Reunion to finish them off on the same turn. You could go mono green with this deck, but you have got to find a way to swerve the removal spells. They all have 1 toughness, so they die very easily to some of the much cheaper board wipes. And the deck is much better with the Bitter Reunion in it. They do discard some of our cards, which I don't really care about as well. And there is our Forest, and we'll go for the Tortoise. So it's one of our more expensive cards in the deck. It's also a rare. If you did want to just drop the Tortoise, you could potentially make this deck very, very budget friendly and not actually play any rares. You just need to drop the Tortoise and the Valet. And that's certainly an option. Obviously the lands is where you're going to have the problem. Opponent with a Deep Cavern Bat. And they're going to see a Naturalist. I wonder if they know what's going on here. But we're out of gas here. I guess that's slightly disappointing. And they play Kervek the Punisher. Confirms they are a Crime Matters deck. So we find a Sprout. Okay, well, we will play this. This will be a 3/3 next turn. And I'm going to saddle up now. So the Burrowfiend is very good at this exact situation. You can saddle, you don't actually have to attack, and I don't really want to attack into their Death Toucher straight away. I can use the Burrowfiend to literally just mill every turn. I've been very impressed with this card. I wish it had Trample. There's an argument to be said you could put a spell in this deck to give it Trample, but it regularly becomes 10-12 power every game. But this is a very janky deck. I mean, I was just determined to play some jank this Friday. Set myself up for the weekend. And this is certainly one of those type of decks. And they're getting in there with everybody. Well, I'm going to just block the Tiny Bones. I really don't want them to start casting cards off the top of my deck. It's not something I am interested in. I do think we're going to win the late game if we can find our Rise of the Varmints, play a Naturalist, and we can mill some more. And that is a Maverick. It'd be nice if we milled a Dryad's Revival as well. Another card that can help potentially find some of our game-winning combos from our graveyard. But we're still on 13 life. There is a Rise of the Varmints in the grave here. There's 11 creatures there as well. Here come Outlaws. Okay, I mean, we're going to need to find a way to close this game out pretty quickly, because 2 5-power flyers in the attacking us each turn is going to be pretty difficult for us to deal with. And a Prowler here. Okay, digging away here. And we will grab a land here. So we're going to take a few hits in the air. We are very much all in on finding a Rise of the Varmints, which at the moment is going to do a massive amount of damage with the Bitter Reunion on the battlefield. And they are getting in there with their creatures, nothing for us to discard. So they are going to draw a card. Okay, this Outlaws is absolutely destroying us right now. No removal in our deck. Not interested in that. We're all in on creatures, milling. But we're not dead yet. We're on 7 life, and we'll eat this Tiny Bones. Okay, well, there's a Revival. Well, this is nice, because they do have the Outlaws, but we can Revival our Rise of the Varmints here. So there's 12 creatures in our graveyard, and we can plot this. We have a treasure. Plotting this will keep it away from our opponent's discard effect. And that is 24 damage with just the Rise of the Varmints next turn. Plus we can do a few other attacks with the creatures we have on the board. They channel their Sokenzan, okay. Okay, and Xander's allowed to be cycled. So they're going to gain 5 life back with their flyers here. So we're still probably going to need to find some juice off the top of our deck. And they get in there with their flyers. We're going to go down to 2. So yeah, 24 damage next turn. Yeah, we're going to need to find a creature, because everything's going to get haste for us. So let's see how this one goes. My janky deck can take care of one of the better decks in the format. And there is another Rise of the Varmints for us. Okay, well, maybe that was a bit lucky, but yeah, I mean, you make your own luck. That is 24 Varmints coming at the opponent. They are absolutely dying on this turn. I can't believe we've taken down their deck with so many cool cards, so many difficult cards for most people to deal with. And yeah, we ride our luck at the end there, but wow, that is a lot of damage going through. Takes the opponent down to -15, and we will take down that deck. Alright then, on the play. Mono green hand. So let's get our Sprout down. Start milling. And it is a Plains for our opponent here. Alright, another Sprout. Cool. Alright, well, we'll go for the most mana efficient play with the Analyst. Milled 1 Prowler. So we'll attack our opponent here. Fortunately, the Sprout won't be a 3/3 next turn. Alas, ill core. Okay. Alright, let's play our Burrowfiend and saddle up. So we can't attack with it now, but I wasn't going to be attacking it anyway into this Alas. Okay, so there's 4 lands in the graveyard. Takassia's welcome for our opponents. We mill another land. Okay, and Boseiju. Would love to take care of this Takassia's welcome, but I don't think we can. Let's get this Naturalist down, though. And just a treasure. Okay, so we've been milling lands when we don't want to, and we've been milling creatures when we want to mill a land. Alright, well, I guess... So I'm not really that bothered about this LSL core just yet. Let's saddle our 2 1-power creatures so we can block with the Naturalist. We'll attack with the Burrowfiend. If they want to block, fair enough. There we go, they do block anyway. Alright, another creature into our graveyard. Don't really want... I wasn't entirely sure that they were going to block that. I guess 8 power is a lot. There's Adeline, okay. Alright, well, again, if they're just playing creatures, we can block all day long. Need to find a land, though. Maverick, okay. Yeah, if I found a land there, I might have just fired off the Rise of the Varmints. But yeah, pretty unimpressive turn for us there. Amalia, okay, I would say so. Another Lifegain style deck, fair enough. And Downey, right? Yeah, I mean, this is all a little bit of an issue. Oh, goodness, I wish we had that Rise of the Varmints last turn. We'll block where we can. Oh, I could have blocked the 1/1. I've got a 1 power creature in the Analyst here. Alright, fair enough. Dryad's Revival, sure. Okay, well, we never found a 4th mana. I guess we just go for our Rise of the Varmints here. I mean, we're not in the worst position here. We'll play this. It's a whole ton of creatures. And I guess we'll just revival the Rise of the Varmints back. I'm worried about this particular game. Let's attack with a 4/4 only. Alright, opponent down to 15. But yeah, I mean, I'm worried about a board wipe. Elas Il Core, okay. And Case of the Uneaten Feast. Into Voice of the Blessed. Okay, there's going to be a whole ton of triggers here, isn't there? Because of Downey. And there's a bat on top. Alright, we need the opponent to attack. So we can take some damage. They're up to 18 life. Loads of triggers there. Yeah, that turn we didn't draw a... I mean, we've only had 3 land. This is a difficult one. I don't think we can... So even if we attack with everyone, they block 5 of our creatures. So they take 7 creatures. That's not enough to kill them. We lose most of our board, and they are, I am sure, going to just have the win for the crackback. Because the Voice is going to do 6 no matter what. Amalia is going to be massive. You can just tell that they've got some more synergies in their deck to make their Amalia big. We're going to have to hold some creatures back here. Let's hold back a 1/3 and a 2/1. We'll get through as much damage as we possibly can. Yeah, and we'll just plot away our Rise of the Varmints. I really wish we had a bitter reunion here. I don't think we could have won that one, although they're down to 4 and we didn't tap with all our creatures. They would have just blocked differently. But yeah, let's just go for this. Block this. Still no land there. I would love to have just played that straight up there. Up against Lifegain is a tricky game to play anyway, but a little bit unfortunate with our draws here. Opponent with a Deep Combat is going to take 2 of our cards. Again, this is the reason why I think Rise of the Varmints is great. That has the plot mechanic because the bat can't take it. They would have absolutely just taken that. If they have a removal spell onto our creatures, I'm pretty sure we're dead. Analyst is nice because it can block. Even though Downey says that certain creatures can't block. I guess the 2/1 is in the same boat as well. Put it with a Lunarch Veteran. Okay, I mean, very difficult to beat this deck. So many triggers. I mean, how is this game played in something like paper? I do not know. We go down to 5. I've got no idea how we're going to win this. Okay, it is a tapped commercial district. Yeah, and I can't see how we can get out of this one. Is Lifegain this deck's nemesis? Maybe. But we haven't given ourselves too much opportunity here to even try and win this game. Okay, and there's still no lands in the top 2 cards. I mean, we're playing 23 in this deck. We've done what we can. We'll play our Rise here, and again, we'll just hope the opponent does something weird. and it doesn't kill us. But we'd love to have been able to give everything haste this turn, and we're just going to attack with everyone and just hope for the best, hope and pray. But this deck is fun to play. I mean, I really want to urge everyone who wants to just play some janky games to give these kind of decks a bit of a try. It's not always about winning every game on Arena. Trust me, it's a lot of time is just having a bit of fun, doing something different. I would rather sometimes spend 100 games just to do one fun thing. Probably wouldn't put that kind of video up on the channel, but I have been known to do that before. Opponent is going to just attack us here. Please. Archangel of Wrath. That's just going to finish us off. And we'll just move on to the next game. Our Varmints did not win that one. Alright, on the draw. Yeah, I mean, this is a decent enough hand, isn't it? With the turn 1 play into the Reunions or the Badgers. Alright, and Rise of the Varmints there. So we've got our kind of pseudo combo. It's not really a combo, but it's we've built a synergy here with our card. Opponent with cut down. Okay, I mean, I can already tell we're going to do alright in this game. If opponents are playing removal spells in our deck, I almost encourage it. We'll play the Prowler here. It both mills, and it's going to clearly go to the graveyard itself. So, yeah, cut down. Okay, opponent down to 4 cards. They're using removal spells on some of the worst creatures that I have. Another Prowler for us. Okay, well, let's just play our Bitter Reunion, I think. Get this on the battlefield. Set ourselves up for a potential win over the next few turns. And we even find a turn 1 play, 1 mana play in the Sprout. Are they going to kill this one too? So they've played 2 cut downs so far. And it's a go for the throat. Okay. Sure. Well, they're going to hate it when we play 6 hasty Rise of the Varmints in a minute. 6 hasty pest creatures. I think that's what a Varmint is. It's a pest. And it is a Vadmir New Blood. Okay, so a new card. Whenever you commit a crime, put a +1 counter on it. When it has 4 counters on it, it gets lifelink. I mean, they've already committed several crimes against me, but without the Vadmir on the board, maybe they wanted, if they had that in their deck, they probably wanted to play that first before they started cutting down everyone. But so be it. We'll take it. Let's get the Prowler down. Let's see what we mill here. Okay, go for the throat straight away. Sure. +1 counter onto Vadmir. I was going to see if I could put a counter onto the Prowler to then saddle up my Badger. But we'll still play a Badger here. Maybe they could have just waited to see. It probably would have been better had they just waited and shot the Burrowfiend instead. So hopefully they're out of removal spells now. But yeah, mono black crime deck. I haven't come across too many mono black crime decks. They've been thinking for a while about this turn. But I really like our hand. So we can play Rise of the Varmints with haste. And then even revival it back. Okay, Bitter Triumph takes care of our Badger. They do have a 4/4 now. But, I mean, what are they going to do about our board here? Alright, well, let's just plot this. But I don't think it's... Oh, wait a minute. It's 9. We have 9. They're all mislethal there. We could have just played the Rise of the Varmints and given it haste. For some reason, I thought we had 8. Would have taken down to 1. Doesn't matter, we can just do it this turn anyway. So forgive me there for missing a lethal attack. But let's get the Burrowfiend down. It's going to be way more damage anyway. Get down our Sprout, play Rise of the Varmints, give everything haste, saddle up the Badger, and swing in for an enormous attack against this mono black deck. How much damage is this going to be? I mean, more than enough to take them down as they go down to -12.